Hello everyone, I hope you all are doing fine. Welcome back to another session. Today we are going to study Chapter 6, CBSE Grade 6, and the name of the chapter is New Questions and Ideas. Yes, so let's start with a very interesting thought. With our thoughts, we make the world. Yes, this quote was given by, was given by Buddha. He put forward this quote, and that's such a wonderful thought that whatever we think, we make things happen. So please don't give up. Social studies is a very, very easy thing, and it's so easy that it helps you increase your marks. Right? So what are the topics that we are going to focus with maps? So don't worry, you won't forget any location. We are going to focus more on the story of Buddha. Then we are going to study about Upanishad. How are they very different from the Vedic text? Rig Veda and all. Then we are going to talk of Jainism, Sanghas and monasteries. So let's get started. It all started with the story of Anagha. She is a small little girl, happened to travel from Pune, which is in Maharashtra, to Varanasi. I'll show you where do we have Varanasi. So while her mother was along with her at the airport to say her bye, so her mother happens to meet her teacher. So mother starts to talk to her teacher and requests her to make sure the kids get a glimpse of Varanasi. And also, apart from Varanasi, please talk about Lord Buddha and make sure you make them visit Sarnath. So Anagha was quite surprised and she wanted to know more about Sarnath. Are you guys also quite interested to know what's so special about Sarnath? So let's get started with the first topic, the story of Buddha. It all started with Lord Buddha, who was also known as Siddhartha and also known as Gautama. He's the founder of Buddhism. A lot of you might be aware of this, that Buddha is the founder of Buddhism. He laid the foundation stone, but he was born 2500 years ago. Where was he born? I'll show you on the map here. If you see this black dot here, so this is a place, this is called Lumbini. It is in Nepal. Right? So this black spot here, that's called Lumbini, and he was born in Lumbini at Nepal. Here, Lord Buddha. And you also know in the last class we read about Mahajanpad started to evolve. So new cities, new life, and a lot of new thinkers also started to come up who started to answer questions about the true meaning of life, who wanted to understand what's happening in the society. So at this time, Lord Buddha also wanted to know the true meaning of life. So let's know a bit about Lord Buddha, who was a great spiritual teacher, a religious leader, who laid the foundation of the most important religion of the world, Buddhism. So he belonged to Sakyagana, a group of people, and they were Kshatriyas. Now, when I say Kshatriyas, we have 4 varnas in Indian society. There is a social order. So we've got 4 varna system. And in those varna system, we have one of them whom we call Kshatriyas, which means they are the warriors. So he belonged to those tribe whom we consider them to be warriors. So once he turned young, at a very decent age, he left his place, he left all the comforts of his house. And he started to wander here and there. He started to have meetings, discussions with other thinkers. And finally, he realized that maybe meditation is going to help me. So what he did, he sat down under a peepal tree that is at Bodh Gaya. I'll show you exactly where do we have Bodh Gaya here. This is Bodh Gaya. Right? This is Varanasi, that is in Uttar Pradesh. And this Bodh Gaya location, if you guys can see, this is in Bihar. Not very far off. I'll talk of Varanasi also. So this is Bodh Gaya where he attained enlightenment while he was enlightenment ideas, where he was sitting under the peepal tree. So the tree that you see him sitting under, it's basically a peepal tree. And once he attained enlightenment, people started to call him as Buddha, which means the wise man. So after he attained enlightenment, he went to Sarnath, a place very near to Varanasi. Right? So we are also going to talk of Sarnath now. I'll show you on the map where Anagha was to visit. Very near to Varanasi, you've got a place that's called Sarnath. I hope you might have been to Sarnath. So it's again in Uttar Pradesh here. I'll mark some location here, Sarnath. Right? So once he visited there, he taught for the first time. All his disciples were sitting and he gave coaching to them that, okay, now I'm going to. So if you have Varanasi right here, so around from some distance, this side you have Sarnath. It was difficult to map the exact location there. So I've given you a brief idea. It's basically towards its east, but it's above Varanasi. So he started to give his first lecture there at Varanasi. He taught for the first time. And then he was traveling throughout his life from one place to another. And finally, he passed away at Kusinara. I'll show you. We often call it Kushinagar also. I'll again show you where do we have Kushinara. You can see here in Uttar Pradesh. So basically his life more or less evolved in these areas. Nepal, he was born, Uttar Pradesh, then Bihar. So this is exactly, if you see this location here, this is called Kushinara. So he passed away giving lessons to the people. So well, his lessons are quite contemporary. We can use them nowadays also. I like one of his lessons. He said the life that we live, it is full of suffering. Ma'am, I need more marks. I'm not able to understand history. Ma'am, what's happening? I'm almost so depressed. Ma'am, nobody is helping me. I'm so unhappy. So he said you have so suffering in your life, that unhappiness, because you have more desired in your life. I want this, I need that, I need BMW. And in order to fulfill those desires, in order to fulfill your wish, you have to suffer. You will suffer unless and until you manage to fulfill them, you'll suffer. So it's that constant craving that you have throughout your life. So you need to remove it. You need to bring it to some moderation. And you can only bring it to some limit, to some moderation, if you yourself are satisfied and be nice to other people, be kind to them, respect them for who they are. It's not only the other beings, but also the animals. Respect any living creature that you find around us. Respect everyone. So everyone was quite impressed with his lessons. They were quite touched with his lessons. He told that there is a cycle that runs. What you grow, so you reap. So this cycle is called karma. It comes back. Whatever you sow, definitely you're going to have the fruits of the same. Whatever your action, your work, your deeds are, in spiritual sense we say that there is a cause and there is an effect related to your life. Your today's life and your life after death, they all are interrelated. So all these messages he conveyed in a common language that everybody could understand, that's called Prakrit. He conveyed those lessons wide far. His stories became very popular. So that's a bit about Buddha. We came to know his name, we came to know where he was born, where he died, everything on map. Now I am going to talk of Upanishads. Yes. Another interesting topic that you'll find. See, we had Vedic period. You guys learned in the last session about Vedic period. These are religious texts, religious teachings that contributed significantly to Hinduism, but they are later Vedic. Right? The later Vedic Sanskrit text. As I told you towards the start, when Lord Buddha, he was wandering and he was looking for the real meaning of life, there were all other people who were also suffering, who wanted, all those thinkers who wanted to know the real meaning about life, questions related to after death, and why is the need to perform the sacrifices? Do we have to perform the sacrifices? And many of them, they found that there's something permanent in this universe that's going to last even after we die. Yes, that's Atma, our soul. This is our soul that's going to survive. And the second one is Brahman, the universal soul. These are the two things that are going to survive. Even after one leaves. And finally, this is going to unite with this. Atma is going to unite with Brahman. Many of these concepts we've recorded in Upanishads. Many of them. Rigved we learned in the last class. But Upanishads also have a recording like this. They're later Vedic text. So Upanishad, exactly the real meaning of Upanishad means approaching and sitting near. And this is generally a conversation that goes on between a teacher and the disciple, the students. Two-way conversation, mainly in the form of dialogues. This is said by A, this is said by B. So it's easy to remember. And all those men who contributed to Upanishad, they were basically Brahmins who also were involved in some spiritual practices, and the Rajas. One of the very important women who has contributed to this Upanishad, one of the important women thinkers is Gargi. And she was also introduced to royal courts where the kings used to be seated, and she was called for her valuable and spiritual advice. And also one of the most famous and exceptional person who contributed greatly to Upanishad is Satyakama Jabala. This person was named after his slave mother, whose name was Jabali. He also had that craving to know more about the reality of life. He wanted to know about the true meaning of life. He wanted to read ancient text. And later he turned out to be a great Vedic sage. He had questions about his father from his mother. So one of the Brahmin teachers, whose name was Gautama, he accepted him, the son of a slave, to be his student. And later he turned out to be a great Vedic sage himself. He's also known as Satyakama Jabali or Jabala because he's named after his mother. There are many other famous ideas also that we'll read in due sessions, in the upcoming sessions. But that's all for today. In the next session, we are going to talk about Jainism. So in case you like the session, please do not forget to like, share, and subscribe. Thank you.